Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we are going to review Shock Troops VR, a game released exclusively for the MetaQuest on July 28th, 2022 by developer Garage Collective. Shock Troops normally retails for $10. I bought it at that price, and this game is only available on the standalone Quest. It is not available in PC VR at all. Shock Troops is a retro shooter with a pixel art style with a mix of 3D environments and 2D sprites. There are 4 chapters and 4 levels within each chapter for a total of 16 levels. I would estimate playtime is anywhere from 2 to 3 hours depending on skill level, although I can see someone who's uber skilled possibly beating this game in about an hour. I did play this game on normal difficulty and it took me about 2 hours to get to the final boss, and after several attempts I just finally gave up on that final boss. I had been breezing through the game up to that point though. If you played Data Legion or even Stones of Harleth from this developer, then I think you'll know exactly what to expect when playing this game. For those of you who may remember, I was very harsh on Data Legion. I did not think it was a good game, and after my review, these developers did update their game addressing some of the issues I brought up, and I can see that after playing Shock Troops that it is an improvement on Data Legion in almost every way. And overall, I do recommend Shock Troops. However, it is a tepid recommendation. I've seen several other VR reviewers claiming this game is absolutely perfect, that it's epic, that it's a fantastic FPS. This new VR game is insane. Imagine Doom Aliens, but in VR. Yeah, that's not even close to being true, but I get it. A lot of VR content creators make clickbaity titles to get you to click on them, but I'll never do that. And Shock Troops is a competent shooter, but that's really the best I can say about it. It's not a bad game. It's better than your average VR shooter, but let's face it, the average VR shooter is pretty bad. And if you compare this game to other retro shooters such as Dusk or Amid Evil or a whole bunch of boomer shooters I could list right now, but I won't because I don't want to make this a long video. But comparing it to those, this game just pales in comparison. There is no competition. And I know some of you are saying, but Fast Lawyer, it's unfair to compare this to non-VR retro shooters. Okay, even if you compare this game to something like Compound, which I believe is the best retro shooter in VR, it pales in comparison. It is nowhere near as good as Compound, and Compound is coming to the Quest soon, and I would say if your money is tight, wait for Compound. Thank me later. Shock Troops is running on the Unity engine. On my Quest 2 standalone, I was getting pretty steady frame rates. I did not notice any stutters. I did not run into any serious issues or bugs, but there were some bugs that are minor, but I'll mention them later. There were some loading screens, but they were usually pretty short and they weren't annoying at all. I did find it a little humorous that the game file for this game has it listed as Data Legion 2. Like I mentioned, there are a total of 16 levels, and it'll take most people 2 to 3 hours to complete the game. Probably just 2 hours as long as you don't have any difficulties as far as dying or trying to beat that last boss. You do have 3 different characters, and importantly, they all have a different special ability as well as different upgrades you can find. That does encourage you to look all around the map. However, it can get tedious to backtrack trying to find those upgrades. Other than the special abilities though, you don't really notice the difference between the 3 characters. I personally went for the character with the bullet time because I always like a bullet time ability, but the shield ability might actually be the best one, and then the last character has a dash ability which is not as good as the other 2. And you can play this game on easy, normal, or hard difficulty. I did play this game on normal difficulty. There are checkpoints at each level that you have to reach in order to activate it. However, if you leave the game, you will start at the beginning of each level. You do have full locomotion, as well as smooth and snap turning available, as well as comfort options. You can set the angle for your snap turns or the speed for your smooth turns, as well as adjust your height so you can play this game comfortably seated. There is voice narration for this game, and there is a little bit of a story as well, but to be honest with you, the story is so forgettable that if I had to tell you right now what the story is about, I couldn't tell you because I just plumb don't remember any of it, and I literally just stopped playing about an hour ago. Also notably, there is no spatial audio, so sometimes enemies will be very close to you and you just can't hear where exactly they are. You'll hear noises, but you won't be able to tell where those noises are coming from. I did enjoy the musical soundtrack for this game. I thought the music often did match the action that was happening, and the sounds overall were okay, but again, without that spatial audio, it's a miss. And the voiceovers, to be honest, weren't very good. As far as the pixel art style, I will say that it looks much better in VR than it probably does look on this video. The artists in this game, I think, just did a very good job of making detailed environments. So the game world is generally beautiful to look at, although I will say that the enemy models weren't that good, especially the enemy animations are pretty poor. And I just thought overall the enemy designs, especially if you played prior titles from Garage Collective, was just pretty bland. It seemed like they recycled some of their old enemy types and just put it into this game. And also, while I did enjoy the visual style of the 3D environments, the level designs themselves were a little uninspired. There were just a lot of open areas and just very generic game design at certain moments of this game. It seemed you were either in a wide open area or in cramped hallway after cramped hallway. But I think the one thing that really brings this game down, what keeps it from being great, is that the combat was too generic and not impactful enough. The action wasn't tight, the enemy AI was pretty dumb, and one of the bugs I found was that some enemies would shoot beneath the floor or clip through walls. And another bug that I found was that some weapons just would not fire even though you had ammo for them. And if you reset the level, all of a sudden you could fire again. While there was a nice variety of enemies, I found that it really didn't matter what the enemies were other than maybe the sniper. And that's mostly just because the enemy AI was so dumb, and even then some of the snipers would just stand around and wait for you to pick them off. They would never react to your presence. It seemed that a lot of the enemy movements were scripted and they never really actually tried to outflank you or do really anything intelligent. Most of the time they got out of cover and just ran directly towards you. And funny enough, sometimes if you got behind cover and just shot over the cover, the enemies would just walk towards you and just die as you slowly whittled away their health. They wouldn't even react in any way to you shooting them. So other than the final boss, I really did not find any challenge in this game. I did find some parts to be annoying. The train ride especially was pretty annoying, as you had to move around the train, not getting hit by the horizontal signs, while enemies spawned out of nowhere to all sides of this train car. And this dev, for some unknown reason, just loves falling debris, falling down on you to take down your health during several firefights. However, checkpoints are not very generous in this game, and I found that I hardly ever needed them because when there was a difficult part, there was no checkpoint in the middle of that difficult part. You do have a few different weapons, including your handgun, your assault rifle, your flamethrower, your chainsaw, your sniper rifle, and like a laser minigun. You also have on your offhand a radar or a shield that does deplete with damage. However, I did find the assault rifle to be the best weapon simply because the ammo for it was just abundantly available, along with the shield just being more useful than the radar and the flashlight I hardly ever needed to use it. Overall, I would say that Shock Troops VR is a competent shooter, and if I have to rate it, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's nowhere in the league of a Compound, and I'm not even gonna make any comparison between this and Half-Life Alyx. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. This has been my review for Shock Troops. If you enjoyed my review, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.